What's up, guys? This is Doctore. Welcome to another episode of the FPL Fantasy. We have a very special guest today, but before we go to the guest, I want to introduce my co-host, Joe. How are you today?
Hey Doc, how you doing? I'm doing great today. Really excited. Another episode of FPL Fantasy. I kind of thought I was the special guest, but I guess you're right. Our special guest this week doesn't hold. I don't hold a flame to his overall rank this year, which outstanding achievement and incredible.
Well, you have a special place in our viewers' hearts, Joe, so I wouldn't be
Yeah.
so jealous from Nick, which takes me to the guest. Our guest is currently in the top 500 in FPL. Nick, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, first off, absolute pleasure and honor to be on this show. I'm joined by two greats. Yeah, my name is Nick. FPLNitro on Twitter. I have no idea how I'm in the top 500. I was actually tickling the top 100, but a big red arrow sent me back. Oh, what a shame. I'm still in the top 500. But yes, I've gotten a couple things right. Been lucky here and there. And yeah, we're sitting at 478 at the moment, which is mind boggling. But yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Well, beside his rank, what I like about Nick that he's one of the nicest people in the community that I have interacted with. He has a great personality. He also does content. I'll leave his details in the description below. It's all about FPL and FPL Expect Asians. His content is great, so I'll leave all the details in the description. Please go follow him on Twitter because he's really fun to interact with. So beside his rank, I love his personality and it's great to have him here.
Yeah,
Thanks, man.
I just would like to sound off on every single thing that Doc said here. Also, fantastic guy. Actually, before the recording here, I went through and read some of his tweets and stuff just to get an idea more on who is FPL Nitro, and just great guy, definitely worth a follow.
Let's jump right into this. Nick, how are you in the top 500?
Oh, I've been asking myself the same question, man. Trust me. Keeping the armband on Salah for almost the entire season definitely helped. I did swap it to Antonio game week 2 and Ronaldo for his Newcastle haul. Other than that, for the big hauls that Salah had, I feel like if you captain Salah, you're good to go. And then I just got a couple of extra lucky hitters that kind of gave me that head start. I think you guys can agree with me too, where if you have a good start in the first couple of game weeks, it just kind of sails you throughout. Having a good head start really helps. And from there, you can kind of build upon it. You're not wasting your precious wild card. I still have it. God knows how, but I still have it. So it gives me a lot of flexibility. I know, it's crazy.
So when are you planning to use it since you still have it?
It's a great question. Now that we've got all sorts of potential postponements and potentially a double game week in 22, having that first wild card is huge because I can play it in 20, which is the last possible time I can do it. And then I don't have the free hit in 22. I'll just set up my team for 22, hopefully. And then that second wild card is just a safety barrier. If I need to just do a bunch of surgery, I got that. I don't have to play the free hit too early. Although I have heard that one of the fixtures, I think Burnley and Everton, has just been postponed.
Yep.
I don't have any of the
We're
players,
recording this
but
right 10 minutes after this news, yeah.
yeah. I don't think I need a free hit. I really don't want to use it just yet, but yeah, just having that extra flexibility is really huge. So probably game week 20 to set up for the double game weeks.
So speaking of the free hit, what do you think about FPL giving everybody another free hit?
So personally for me, I haven't seen anyone hating on it, but I've seen tweets about people hating on it. So I've come to gather that some people are hating on it, which I don't really understand. They're giving us another chip.
You didn't see our last video then, because I mean that guy over there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're not a fan? Not a. Let's have a discussion. It's fine because I don't know what the other perspective is, so I want to know what it is. Maybe I should be hating on it. I don't know.
Well, I'm not hating on it. I mentioned it in the last video. Whoever hasn't watched the last video, just go and watch it. I'll summarize it just quickly here. I played kind of the devil's advocate with Joe, where I was kind of against it, and the main notions were, what's the point if there are postponements? It's postponements for everybody, and where do you draw the line? For example, if we have more postponements in game week 24, are we going to get another free hit? Game week 26, are we going to get another free hit? So that was the point kind of trying to put across. I don't hate on it. I actually love it because it's going to give me another aspect of planning and another reason to just be active with FPL. But there are reasons why I thought, okay, I'm not a fan. which I tweeted about, which I mentioned in the last video. So what do you think, Nick?
I'm definitely. I get that perspective as well, and actually that was really good to hear because I feel like for me on my feed I've just been seeing like it being praised, but it's also good to hear the counter arguments as well. And you do raise a good point. Like I feel like we're gonna get more postponements inevitably down the road. So what's that in it for FPL? Do they issue another wild card potentially, 3 wild cards? And then what does that mean for the managers? You know, who have been very strategic, who have been frugal with their chips. Now your competition is getting the same chips as you, or they're just getting benefited. So that is a really good point. I would say I'm more on the favorable side though. I do like the introduction of a free hit. It's I don't know if this is unprecedented or not, but it kind of seems like the game itself has been more understanding of the current situation. Last year we had COVID postponements, but I don't think they were as crazy as they've been now. Some of these postponements aren't COVID related. Some of them are actually like teams lack players, like Everton, for example. So I guess it's just a lot of stuff that the managers can't really foresee, like player fitness and stuff like that. So I guess it's good. It introduces a new element of strategy. Like now that you have this extra chance per se, how do you be more strategic? How do you maybe not mess up your free hit from the last time? How do you capitalize on that? So I think it's an interesting dynamic, but it does raise a good question, like you said, Doc. Like, oh, does this mean we'll get more chips down the road if more big postponements happen? Who knows? That's a good point.
Your answers have been dancing around a little bit of a question that I wanted to present to you and also let Doc touch on it a little bit. So all 3 of us are performing great compared to our previous histories within FPL. Do you think any of your and to some extent our success, yes, we're becoming better managers throughout each season, but seems like all 3 of us have kind of had astronomical success compared to our past seasons? Do you think any of the craziness and the chaos has paid into us being better this year compared to others?
That's a good question, Joe. I think the fact that we've kind of gone through last season, which gave us a little teaser and a taste of all of a sudden we've got postponements, all of a sudden we've got these weird scheduling of fixtures. It's kind of given us that teaser. Now we're here in this part of the year. And actually, most of those postponements last season happened around this time of the year too. I feel like if anything, it's made us stronger almost, right? Sure, we're kind of, okay, this is tough, this is annoying. We had plans and now they're kind of thrown in the bin, but we're not new to this, right? This is something we've kind of had a taste of last season, and it's the familiar kind of pain. So you do raise a good point. We do have had some, a bit of luck on our side. That's true. But yeah, I think I would probably say that these kind of postponements, these obstacles that will separate the good and the better of the managers out there.
Just was looking for an idea of, hey, the chaos has done us 90% of the work and we're 10% better managers, so here we are. Or, if it was more of, hey, we're 90% better managers and chaos added 10% more of a rank. So, yeah.
And some of those things are really unforeseeable, which as managers, we can't really plan for, but we're also able to adapt, improvise, and overcome. So the chaos will either make or break, if you will.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point to think about planning those type of things, because like Chelsea has had outbreaks like crazy in their camp. So at some point we should expect, okay, illness has been passed around the camp enough that, okay, you don't expect Chelsea to really have any more illnesses on the team for, say, 2 to 3 months. Obviously, you're going to have your random thing that pops up. Somebody pulled a Foden and Grealish and went out and partied too hard and now can't play. But it kind of gives you a little bit of a sense of safety in, okay, we know that the typical illness that's being passed around the Premier League isn't going to affect Chelsea for X amount of time. They're probably a safer bet. Chelsea is just an example. Obviously, they have tough fixtures and a couple blanks coming up, but it's just another level to planning that when you mentioned that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. We could think of it like this is not XG and not X grass, right?
You touched on this topic, and I would like to ask you both a question. If you had to just put a number, a percentage for me, it's a question for you both. How much of FPL is luck and how much of it is skill as a percentage?
Okay, well, this is gonna be a really good discussion. I'm gonna say 45. I'm gonna go like really close. 45% skill and 55% luck. Um,
Really?
I have kind
That's
of.
very interesting.
It's very close. It might be a cop out. If it's a cop out, feel free to let me know because it's like I might as well say 50-50. But I feel like there's a lot of strategy. I feel like I've definitely talked to casuals, i.e., my friends who don't dive into FPL as deep as I do. And they're like, yeah, well, there's a lot of luck. You can't predict everything. And they're absolutely right. We're playing a game that is completely based on real life results that we can't fully foresee. But there's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of stuff that we can actually look at that can help to bolster our arguments. There's a way to managing your transfers, managing team value, even that, which I think a casual probably wouldn't care about team value, right? So all of this is your skill aspect, the 45%. Now, the reason I've gone for 55% luck is because the first case that the casuals have brought up, it's a game based on luck. Like the COVID stuff, this is stuff that's really unprecedented, unforeseeable, stuff you can't plan for, stuff that Fantasy Football Hub can't give you. And help you prepare ahead of time. So I would say it's a little bit more luck, but just edges it by a little bit because there's a bit of strategy and planning you can do to help you. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I kind of think you're on somewhat of the right path there compared to what I think. Originally, probably even before this season, I would say 30% luck and 70% skill. Going into this season, it's kind of shown a little bit of a different beast, that there's a little bit more luck involved than I think I originally had expected. I'm on FPL Twitter seeing all these big accounts that last year might have finished, top 100K, top 10K, that are now all the way back at 1.5 mil. And they're like, hey, fell back or started the season at 3 million. And clawing my way back, trying to get back up to the top. And I think just seeing those type of experiences has given me more of an idea of there's more luck involved than we give it credit for, but there's luck for that luck, if that makes sense. Like how I mentioned before, we're lucky. We've figured out the chaos. We figured out how to control a little bit of the chaos and use it to our advantage. Some people haven't done that this year.
I mentioned this when we were talking about rank, and I said that having a good start was really, really important. And so that's kind of a good place to look at luck versus skill, because we had the whole preseason to do our skill-based homework, which is Antonio, Benrahma, who are these guys we look out for? You look at the preseason, stuff like that. All of us jumped on Shaw because he was good in the Euros and his stats were great. And then you had the luck, of course, because some people may have gone Wilson over Antonio. Because Wilson and Antonio, at that point in time, two very good picks. And I think they had pretty decent fixtures too. But you got either very lucky or not so lucky. If you went Antonio, like myself, you got very, very lucky. So that's kind of a good place to look at. And as you guys know, once you have the right picks in your first game week, you don't have to be rushing with all the other managers to get in, and the likes of Antonio or Benrahma if you don't have them game week one, and you're not worrying. Whereas if you have them already, you're just kind of thinking, okay, I just got to worry about captaincy, the fixtures next game week. So yeah, it's a tough one for sure, but that's kind of why I would edge luck over skill, because you've done your homework. Now you just got to let fate decide if it wants to award Antonio that assist or not, something like that.
Yeah, I think that your Antonio example is a great example of that, because a lot of people that went Wilson were going Wilson because they weren't willing to hedge their bets on, now medical professionals can get specific, but a couple millimeter thick hamstrings, which Antonio might have smaller than the average person hamstrings, because it seems like they're always going out. Now, he's done well this year. Knock on wood, knock on whatever I have close to me. But yeah, no, I think that's a great example for sure.
If I may interject here, I'd like to disagree with the both of you. Just
get out.
I actually disagree.
Leave.
I'm playing also devil's advocate, but I actually disagree. Just remove the whole screen, Joe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say if I had to put a number, I would say it's about 80% skill and 20% luck. My argument is based on the fact that we usually see the same managers in the top 100k. It's the same argument when it comes to poker. Poker has been always discussed if it's a game of skill or a game of luck, and it was decided academically and by law, especially in the US, when there was a discussion about whether to make poker a skill game or a gambling game, and it was decided that it's a skill game because it's going to differ when it comes to taxes. So poker has been decided that it is a skill game, and I think FPL is the same. It is a skill game. There is definitely an element of luck because you can make a decision, and like you guys mentioned, the player just goes off injured. But making that decision is the skill part, and then the luck part comes at the end. It's the same with poker. Poker, you make a decision when there are 3 cards on the table, and then you just don't know what's the 4th card, but you play with the information you currently have. If you have more information, you make better decision. And also, what Nick mentioned in the beginning of the season, whenever whoever had Antonio, that was part of the decision. That was the smart one. Yes, it's hindsight and it's results based. I totally understand that, but you wouldn't see the same managers usually in the top 100k if it wasn't skill based. And if it was more luck based, you would just throw any 11 in your team, and eventually you'll be number 1 if you catch my drift.
Yeah. That is a good point, Doc. I think the poker perspective is really interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Yeah, there are definitely some similarities you can draw between poker and FPL. They're quite similar in that kind of sense. I'm not a professional poker player, so I wouldn't be able to testify. But that Antonio point that you brought up, like we had to make that decision. Part of making that decision is the skill involved in FPL. It's a really good point. Thanks for raising that.
So Nick, where do you see yourself at the end of the season?
Oh, that's a good question, I didn't, yeah, well, I see what Joe is putting up right there. That's the dream.
We're rooting for you, definitely.
Well, yeah, that is definitely the dream for all of us. I mean, I wanted a top 10K this season. I was like gonna be happy with a top 10K. Little did I know I would be tickling the top 100. The best rank I got was a 170 something, which is like you could put everyone before me in a room and that you could actually count them, which is actually unreal. I don't know how I'm here. I've just gotten a couple of things right. But as I got closer to the top 100, I realized that my green arrows were a lot harder to get because they were inching. They weren't like huge 10K jumps. They were 10, 5, 10, and if I got a green arrow, I would have like taken it, or a gray, if you will. But so I know it's going to be tough. I'm in a really good position, provided I get my tactics right. And I get a couple of things right, as we've just talked about luck and skill. I want to get, I think it would be quite hard to drop out of the top 10K, touch wood. But top 10K I would be very happy because I got like a top 200K last season. So I'm living the dream right now. But I'm in the position where I could get a pretty outrageous overall rank. I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need all of your support. And I'm going to need a bit of luck on my side. So, yeah, we're going to have to shoot for a crazy rank there. Maybe top 200, top 100 would be really cool to see.
Yeah, Nick, I'd like to let you know that when me and Doc were talking about getting a guest on, we wanted to get on somebody that we could hedge our bets on to be number 1 in the world at the end of the year. And, well, actually, we tried to reach out to Magnus Carlsen, but he had just won his chess tournament, so he was having just a great time. He said he couldn't make it, so we were like, FPLNitro, obviously. Let's reach out to him. Let's get him on the show.
I would hedge my bets on Magnus Carlsen, to be fair. So, yeah, he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
Is he playing FPL this season? Surely he's playing FPL this season.
Yeah, he is. I've seen a couple tweets.
He's busy.
By the way,
Okay.
Joe's joking. We haven't reached out for Magnus. I think we should, Joe. By the way,
I think you should. That'd be a really cool addition to think of how he thinks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great to be on the show. We've had some very good discussion, and like I've only just met Joe, and it's been a while since I've talked to you, Doc. But I've absolutely enjoyed it.
Nick, it was awesome to have you on. Like you mentioned, have some good discussions. Yeah, I want to just say thank you so much for taking some time to come out and come on. You're absolute gentleman, absolute legend. Hope we can get you back on one of the later shows.
My pleasure. Absolute honor, Joe.
All right. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, press the like button if you enjoyed this content. For further content, we would like to thank Nick again for appearing. We wish him to be the top 1 in the world soon, and I'll see you on the next episode.